What's up guys, it's Crash and we just got a new video from Arena Breakout talking about everything you guys need to know for the beta that starts on Wednesday. The thing I really want to know though, and I don't, is if I'm even going to be able to get into it. I'm trying to get a key. I will leave a link to the website down below so you guys can sign up to try to get a key, but as it sounds like now, you have to be randomly selected. So you just sign up and take your chance to see if you get a beta key for the closed beta that starts on Wednesday. But they just put out a video with everything you need to know. And you guys know there's some funny stuff in here that I want to talk about. There's another little shot at Tarkov. You guys know about this game. It's essentially a free-to-play kind of Chinese version of Escape from Tarkov with a little bit of maybe a little bit more casual mechanics to be able to make the game a little bit more accessible. They talk about that in the video as well, but he's talking in Chinese, so I have the volume really low. I just want to go through it and pull some things out of note. There's some really interesting stuff and some more shots at Tarkov when they talk about the cheating and their anti-cheat in the game, which is really funny because you guys know Tarkov took a direct shot at them on Twitter, calling them a plagiarized game. Enjoy your 20 minutes in a blatantly plagiarist game. So yeah, they don't really like each other, and you guys can't help but see Tarkov inspiration when we look at this game. So I wanted to go through this with you guys and see, and hopefully I can get a beta key. Hopefully you guys do too. That would be really cool. But yeah, basically in the beginning of the video, he starts talking about how it's done really well on mobile. Over 100 million players on mobile, talking about how they've seen, you know, tons of awards and everybody loves it on mobile. I don't really know. I haven't played it on mobile, but I was very interested in the game in the early stages until I found out that it was mobile. So pretty exciting to see it come to PC, and there's some good info in here. This is the first screen that I really do like. Talking about the comparison between the PC and mobile version, because seeing some of the early gameplay, I was really thinking it still kind of looked mobily, and I wondered if it was like a pretty close to direct port or if they actually were building it exclusively for PC. And this little snippet of video kind of answers that for me. You can see a big difference. I see a lot of aliasing, like I can see actual moving around aliasing in the mobile version, as well as some really bad like artifacting and stuff on the edges of the turbine. Down at the buses, there's a lot of aliasing, and you can see in the PC version that is all cleaned up really nice. The lighting is on a complete different level. The skybox, even, you know, the clouds and the skybox and everything looks good. The shadows, reflections are all there. Basically, it looks like you're going from PS2 to current day with this comparison. So I was really happy to see this part and really wanted to go over this and just kind of show you guys like a really good before and after. The textures are crazy, the light's crazy. And this gets me a little bit more excited that you can see clearly, like A/B compare, that it is not just a port over from mobile, which I was a little bit worried about given some of the structures and some of the textures that I saw in the early gameplay. But man, yeah, I could just do this a whole bunch because it looks really cool. So I'm thankful for this shot in the video. I really like it a lot. Let me know what you guys think of that thing too. I think it looks a lot better. And then you can see again, tons of lighting stuff. And I don't know what engine this is in. I would love to know what engine this is in, given, you know, kind of Crafton and other Tencent backed studios. You usually think Unreal because Tencent owns a fair amount of Epic Games. They own some of that, the makers of Unreal Engine. So you got to think this is probably like Unreal Engine 4 is what it looks like, especially with the font and some of the menus and stuff. Kind of makes me feel Unreal. And then, but it's really cool how they still got like the Unity type Tarkov look of the weapons. It's kind of wild, like how similar to Tarkov it looks. Some of these buildings still look a little mobily to me, but if that makes the game run better, then that's okay. If you guys didn't know, the minimum specs for this is a 2060 and the recommended specs is only an RTX 2080. So this should be quite a bit more optimized than Gray Zone Warfare. So maybe it's more accessible to people, and I'm okay with that. Anyway, if you are checking out with the subtitles down at the bottom, they said they want this type of game to be more accessible to people. So that's why you're going to see some quality of life stuff on here. You see the compass across the top of the screen, and you're going to see like a little bit more casual style mechanics with some more feedback. You see your armor level, your helmet level right on the screen. I think you can see it, yeah, below my head. Yep, and some of the feedback that you get, you know, if you're hungry, it looks like you're wearing ears, so you have a little bit enhanced hearing and stuff like that. So then here we can also see an extraction. We can also see a timer. So definitely not like Gray Zone. This is a time-based extraction shooter, so you have a raid start to finish. And again, I really do like these looks at the graphics. This gives me a little bit more peace of mind. It's nowhere near like the fidelity of Gray Zone Warfare, but if a lot of people can run it and it runs well, that's okay, right? Because there's still weird lighting stuff. Like if you look over here on the beach, like the rocks have some weird like outline to them. The reflections are weird. It's not like an insane Unreal Engine 5 Scala like Gray Zone has going on, but it doesn't really need it. If it runs well, if it works, if it's not like immersion breaking, like a little bit less on the graphic side is not necessarily a bad thing in my opinion. Talks about microtransactions here. Big question for me. You start to hear all the red flags, right? Like Tencent, free to play, mobile. You start to really wonder about microtransactions. And some of you guys more familiar with the mobile version, I would love to know what kind of microtransactions are in there. I heard some stuff about maybe you have to like pay per month to keep a secure container, which kind of fits into what he's saying. I can't confirm or deny that. I've heard that before. You guys can let me know if you've played it. But he talks about how spending money offers convenience and personalization, but skill, awareness, and all that stuff is going to be what wins in the end. So hopefully he's saying not pay to win. We will see. These extraction shooters border that line often with bigger stash sizes, more starting weapons, and the pay to win thing gets like a little bit muddy. So we'll see how it ends up, but you can tell a little bit less on the graphic side right now. And they're just trying to make it more accessible, along with, you guys can see not a lot of hardcore military shooters have these kind of on-screen keybind guides or whatever. Hopefully you can turn that off, but at the bottom you can kind of see your stamina. You can see your arm stamina. I kind of like to see this as a bar. Oops, I moved my mouse and it made that come up, but you can see how to stop, hold breath, page up and page down, changes your scope zeroing, switch your sight power, switch different sights, all on the screen. And then the two bars at the bottom, you can see your leg stamina and your arm stamina. So a little bit different graphical representation. Something I also noticed in this frame is behind the RV, behind the Cousin Eddie National Lampoon's sick looking RV, you can see a teammate, number 3 with the gamer tag Luker. So it's very interesting that you can see your friends. I don't know how you feel about that. It's not as immersive, it's not as hardcore, but it is kind of nice just at a glance to see where your teammates are. I don't know how you guys feel about that. The blood looks interesting, and this is something that I wondered, because in China, you can't show blood. So this is kind of crazy that they have that on there. That's the first time in anything I've seen actual blood. Then we can start to see this really Tarkov-y, right? You see your weight, your stamina, some of your soft skills, potentially like your hearing and stuff like that. The weapon customization. We have seen in other trailers the preset screen that looks like the Tarkov Breakdown preset screen. Some of the similar names for the armor, and the gun customization looks really granular as well. I kind of like the idea of having core. I liked how that split up, like the core parts. So like these are the parts that you have to have, like the core base to make the gun work, and then expanded accessories like muzzles, sights, the adapter for the suppressor and the rear sights and stuff like that, like expanded, not like integral to making the firearm run, but extra things you can add. I really like how that's split up over there on that side of the screen, and see moving stuff around. They talk about a new rendering tech. So this also looks really Unreal 4 like to me. You guys can let me know what you think down in the comments. But yeah, I don't really care a whole lot about that. Seems pretty standard here. They're 3D scanning weapons. This guy actually is slamming some Hennessy while he's at work. So these guys are ballers, right? They're here to party and make video games. He's got the Hennessy on the desk, ready to crank through some games. Crunch doesn't matter when you're hammered. So they're 3D scanning. I feel like the 3D scans of weapons just has kind of become the norm. Gray Zone has that as well. It's kind of become the normal thing. And the weapon models definitely do look really good. I'm not sure, the game art looks a little bit nicer than the actual game environment, but I think there's going to be quite a few weapons. And then talking about the environments, again, they don't look crazy realistic to me. just with some of the textures and stuff, but day night cycle looks really, really cool. Thermals are going to be awesome. That's coming to Gray Zone down the pipeline. But yeah, and then in the menu here, just a lot of really nice quality of life stuff. The UI looks really easy to navigate, and I do like that a lot because a lot of games have some really, really tough UI things that I don't really like too much. Again, you have the key guide up on the screen. You also have, new to this, you can't see it, you can see it a little bit behind my head, but there's also like an in-game chat that is also not in Escape from Tarkov, which I think is pretty cool. They said they have physics simulations. There is the weapon assembly. I mean, that's from Tarkov, like with the lines and the call out things with the lines. It's from Tarkov. I'll let you hear the audio just a little bit. Realistic armor and health systems. Again, it feels really Tarkov-like. Gray Zone is a little bit similar, but the simulation is different, not relying on HP. It looks like this game probably relies on HP. I will be very interested to see how the audio compares. We all know that Tarkov has a tough time with audio. And they're talking about it being a live service game, delivering high quality and ever improving sustainable player experiences. So seeing the map design looks really cool, changing the river and stuff. And you guys let me know if you guys are more familiar with game dev. Is this an Unreal Engine editor? Is this what the Unreal Engine looks like? Because I feel like that's what the game is. They did talk about being immersive in my last video, and then for season 4 or whatever season is on a mobile, they offered a Bruce Lee skin. So there might be some weird and kind of crazy skins and crossovers. I don't know how crazy they're going to get on that. Trying to see if there's anything in here that looks out like crazy or anything like that. This person does not have a secure container, so that'll be interesting to see if that is something you have to pay for. I think now they're going to talk about anti-cheat. Yep, anti-cheat, really, really big deal when it comes to this. And this is the frame that I think is pretty wild in another shot on Tarkov. Do you recognize who is on that device? That is Sturman from Escape from Tarkov. They're talking about cheating. That's a PCIe card. I had to do a little research on what that is. I'm not too familiar with cheats, but what I think that is a hardware cheat. That's a PCIe hardware cheat that you plug into your computer, and it gives you direct memory access. So DMA cheats, if you've heard of those. I think that's what they do. They have direct access to your memory, and they manipulate that to give you cheats in game. So not necessarily on your machine's hardware where things normally scan, but in your memory. So they are showing off Tarkov cheats when they're talking about Tarkov. I can't help but think that's another little bit of a jab back at Battlestate Games showing Tarkov cheats in this video. And they're showing a bunch of different kinds of them. And that's really what I think these are. But you can see on the screen, they're talking about anti-cheat and going over hardware DMA anti-cheats, with the Tarkov one propped up on the middle of the screen, showing everybody that you know, the Tarkov cheats. When they talk about this on Twitter, they've always taken little shots at Tarkov like that. So there's another one. So hopefully the anti-cheat works. Again, very skeptical of that. It's just so tough. It's so tough. Free to play makes it really scary. But I think that's the main stuff. And this is pretty much the end of the video. There's not much going on. Yeah, there's like some real life stuff. So anyway, guys, yeah, that's the main parts of the video that I think are important to you guys. I'm not 100% sure how it's going to work out. Free to play makes you worry about cheaters. Tencent and stuff like that makes you worry about you know, pay to win kind of stuff like that. But I can't help but be a little excited for an accessible extraction shooter with this kind of levels of detail and kind of quality, right? Like backed by an infinite money source that is Tencent. It seems like we could be getting a AAA experience with that Tarkov gameplay loop, and that could be really a recipe for success. It might not appeal to the hardcore milsim guys because it's got stuff like keyboard shortcuts on screen and things like that, but for a more widespread audience to be accessible, to feel some of those crazy intense Tarkov like Gray Zone like moments when you're trying to get to an extract, when you're trying to get out of there, when you have some really important loot, and to have that be fully fleshed out with a nice UI system and well-designed stuff and not many bugs and optimized to run on 2060s and 2080s, you can't help but be a little bit hopeful. So that's my take on Arena Breakout. I hope you guys get in the beta. I hope I get in the beta. And please let me know down in the comments if you want me to cover this alongside of Gray Zone Warfare. I think these two games go hand in hand, and I would love to be able to have two games to talk about because I love making videos. I love having conversations with my community. I love reading all the comments. You guys are awesome. If you made it to the end of the video, I cannot thank you enough. You're incredible. Thank you, because there are many, many other awesome creators out there, and the fact that you chose to hang out with me is humbling and awesome. Take care, and I would love to see you guys on the next video.